The God Lord Pu Ai and the others destroyed the space tunnel. They didn't care about what happened within the altar anymore, they only knew to focus on nurturing the next generation of warriors. And within the altar, Purple Zhong Emperor's body was small and skinny, his expression was ferocious, his body had a purple bell silhouette, a formless pressure emanated and he stared hard at the silhouette before him. LuoFeng's wings however gently flapped, smiling as he looked at Purple Zhong Emperor. In terms of body size amongst the trillions of races in the vast universe, LuoFeng's body size was indeed average, however this Purple Zhong Emperor was only 1.6 m tall and skinny, this gave LuoFeng an advantage. I underestimated you. Purple Zhong Emperor said hoarsely. I too didn't expect you to be so cunning. LuoFeng said softly. The treasures were originally mine, I didn't expect you to get them in the end, I'm afraid you've snatched quite a few treasures after Ash Gold Emperor's death. The Purple Bell King's claws that were covered in scales clenched tightly. It was obvious that he was already burning with rage. Anyone who had the chance to obtain a street full of gold ingots, but in the end he only obtained a truckload of gold ingots, and was taken away by his opponent 100 times over. Originally yours? LuoFeng laughed mockingly. Within there's Tiger Thorn Emperor, Night Chin Emperor, Ice Blade and also Ash Gold Emperor's treasures. This altar treasure trove originally belonged to the aboriginals of Yenji continent. Which one is yours? In the battle I won, naturally it's mine. Purple Zhong Emperor snorted coldly. In the battle one after another fell, only 2 were left alive. LuoFeng laughed softly, in this huge battle, whoever survives is the victor and I'm the true victor. Cunning. Purple Zhong Emperor gritted his teeth. He ignited his undying body and used a fire god origin crystal to destroy Ash Gold Emperor. Finally a large portion of the treasures fell into LuoFeng's hands. You aren't bad either. First, you hid your strength, you clearly had the strength to deal with me, yet you burned 3% of your undying body to hide. Let that strongest king Grey Gold fight the rest of us. Nightstar King, Iceblade King, Tiger Thorn King, and you even shouted at the very last moment, telling me to fight with my life on the line. Obviously you're planning for the 4 of us to expend his energy before killing him. LuoFeng said softly, in terms of cunning and ruthlessness how can I compare to you, it's just that I'm more patient. Jia. The Purple Bell King let out an ear-piercing laugh. Well said. In terms of methods I surpass you. It is only your life-preserving and concealing methods that are stronger than mine. However, the final treasure is still mine. Purple Bell Emperor's voice reverberated within the pathway, a purple bell expanded fiercely and headed straight for LuoFeng. LuoFeng's wings shook fiercely the moment the Purple Bell Emperor moved, unleashing his 3 combos to travel through universe. Shio. His speed skyrocketed in an instant, whistling through the air as he charged into a winding passageway at the side, quickly escaping along the passageway. Don't even think about escaping. The Purple Bell King's body had a faint shadow of a bell as he chased after it with all his might. Shwa. The distance between the two swiftly grew. Even the Emperor-level warrior Ash Gold Emperor could only rely on other methods to affect LuoFeng's speed in such a winding passageway. Much less the much weaker Purple Bell Emperor, he had no way to stop LuoFeng at all. In an instant, the distance was completely widened to the point where he couldn't even be seen. The naked eye couldn't see and couldn't detect. Bastard. Purple Bell Emperor's eyes were filled with rage and unwillingness. I'll definitely kill you, definitely. LuoFeng had acquired a large portion of the treasures this time, and he also knew of Purple Bell Emperor's biggest secret, that mysterious ancient bell. These 2 points made Purple Bell Emperor want to kill LuoFeng. No matter what, I have to kill him. A powerful trump card is a hidden trump card. The moment all the warriors know I have this ancient bell, they'll be on guard against me. And some absolute beings may very well attack me and steal my treasure. I have to kill him quickly. Chase. Purple Bell Emperor chased relentlessly from behind. He obviously couldn't see LuoFeng, but he could only use his fastest speed to rush out of the altar. LuoFeng flew out of the pathway to the core region, passing through the normal residential region and finally through the entrance of the altar, finally leaving the altar. I'm out. LuoFeng looked at the large amounts of rock and dirt around him, revealing a smile. I've been chased too badly. I can't even unleash my full strength in the altar, it's too stifling. That pathway is at most 1 kilometer wide, the golden horned beast's huge body has probably been squeezed into a biscuit. LuoFeng grinned, immediately changing his body in less than half a second. A huge creature appeared in the dirt. Its body was over 100 kilometers long, and it was completely golden. Its claws were incomparably thick, and it had a pair of spread golden wings. Its eyes were dark golden in color. Howl, its nostrils spat out hot air. After acquiring the armor, I've never had a true battle. Purple Bell Emperor, this is the first time. The golden horned beast was entrenched in the endless dirt. The dirt was easily pushed aside to the powerful golden horned beast. This thick dirt was no different from Earth's air resistance to humans. The golden horned beast was entrenched there, staring from above, almost like a giant staring at an ant's nest, waiting for the ant to come out. This human strength is weaker, he can't teleport. The moment he reaches the altar and I discover him, he won't be able to escape. I can teleport. Human, you can't escape. Purple Bell Emperor became a beam of light, finally flying out of the altar. So, the moment he flew out, Purple Bell Emperor was filled with killing intent, madly releasing his undying energy. wanting to search in all directions, simultaneously using his scanning device and releasing his law domain. Anyways, Purple Bell Emperor was using all his methods, wanting to find the human Yang at the first moment. Ah. Purple Bell Emperor looked shocked at the huge being before him, raising his neck and looking at the huge being before him. The golden horned beast was already over 80 kilometers in height. Comparing the two, it was like a normal human looking up at a monster that was over 10 times taller than the Himalayas. What a huge fellow. Where did this monster come from? Demon race? Space beast? Purple Bell Emperor was curious. How? The golden horned beast had been squatting there, waiting silently. The moment it saw Purple Bell Emperor appear, it didn't hesitate to wave its right claw. This right claw, because of the beast god transformation and blood river energy transformation, was extremely thick. Compared to a normal golden horned beast's right claw, it was almost twice as thick. That huge blade-like claw was extremely vicious. Hua! One claw struck out. The space collapsed, dirt and dust were instantly sucked into the space vortex. The golden horned beast and Purple Bell Emperor too entered the space crevice. But one was purely waiting, the other was shocked. Maybe he wanted to fight head-on and see the strength of the beast before him. Anyways, at such a close distance, this fierce claw directly slammed into Purple Bell Emperor's body. Rumble, within the space crevice, within the endless space vortex, Purple Bell Emperor stabilized his body. Howl, the golden horned beast flew over, pressing down. What a terrifying beast. It's actually an Emperor pinnacle. Purple Bell Emperor was shocked. Wow. The golden horned beast's body was huge, and it had the armor on its body. With a flap of its wings, its speed was many times faster than the Earth body. The endless sea of fire formed by the 3 fire bells that the Purple Bell King controlled seemed to stagger a little before it was broken through by a dazzling golden river. A speed even more terrifying than that human Yang. Purple Bell Emperor had only clashed twice before completely giving up. Even at my peak, I can't gain any advantage against this beast. And within the altar, my undying body has been greatly damaged, my strength is less than half. Purple Bell Emperor was anxious and furious. He didn't want to fight this beast, he really wanted to find Luo Feng. What's going on? Where did that human escape to? Why did a monster suddenly appear? That's right. This monster is similar to the legendary Silver Wing King. Its body size, crown on its head, thick claws, wings. The only difference is that its color has changed. Previously it was completely silver, but now it's completely golden. Changing the color is easy, it should be that Silver Wing Emperor. Silver Wing Emperor belongs to the human camp. That means Yang is a human, he could very well have invited a friend. Bastard. It's indeed the worst situation I guessed. The moment he left the altar, he invited a warrior from the same camp. This golden beast is probably the earliest to arrive, there could very well be other warriors coming. Purple Bell Emperor thought about this, even though he wasn't satisfied, he could only choose to leave. Teleportation, immediately vanishing into thin air. After Purple Bell Emperor vanished, only then did the golden horned beast disappear, and the earth body appeared. LuoFeng nodded. Without a doubt, the golden horned beast has the strength of an Emperor pinnacle. Even though it's lacking in origin law comprehension, the universe origin law compatibility has increased by 10 times and the creation of my own pinnacle technique has made up for this weakness, allowing me to truly have the strength of an Emperor pinnacle. However, its weakness is obvious too. True Emperor ranked peak stage experts are either good at teleportation or at stopping time. In short, they usually have powerful laws and abilities. LuoFeng thought to himself. Looks like I have to improve further. I'm still not strong enough. The golden horned beast's strength was very strong, just that it couldn't teleport or use time pause. This teleportation and time pause were both life-saving techniques for training the space and time laws respectively. LuoFeng lacked this ultimate technique. However, he had the additional life-saving techniques from the Wuyu wings and the King armor. So, LuoFeng became a silver light and swiftly left the space crevice, returning to the Sacrifice Yen continent, sitting in a universe ship and maintaining sublight speed in the skies above the continent. In the distant ice and snow skies of the Sacrifice Yen continent. Human. Purple Bell Emperor, who was covered in scales and had a ferocious expression, clenched his fists tightly. His powerful energy caused the surrounding space to explode. The powerful shockwaves caused the 10,000 kilometers ice and snow lands below to form a hurricane, stealing the large amounts of treasures that should have belonged to me, and the altar's treasures. A black flying saucer was flying above Yenji continent. LuoFeng was in the control room holding 2 cups of fruit wine. Night Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor. Even though I want to save you, I'm powerless. LuoFeng said softly. The universe is dangerous. The strong fall and the stronger survive. I hope to see you again in the distant future. Teacher True Yen Emperor and Primal Chaos City Leader Teacher both told me that the universe is filled with danger and I have to be careful. Back then, the master of Yunemo planet, Teacher Hu Yen Bo, asked Babata to leave me with the most important sentence, which is to make me respect the universe and never be arrogant. LuoFeng sighed softly. This is the experience gained from countless setbacks. I originally thought Emperor Pinnacle warriors would be absolutely safe on Yenji continent. I originally thought the pinnacle of Emperor level warriors would be absolutely safe in the alien battlefields. I originally thought, with teleportation, it would be hard to fall. But the truth is, in just one altar on Yenji continent, Night Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor, Ice Blade, Ash Gold Emperor, they all fell. Even the pinnacle of Emperor level warriors fell. LuoFeng sighed. And Ash Gold Emperor died to someone weaker than him, Purple Bell Emperor. I really can't be careless. The outcome of the battle depended on many factors. The altar's special environment made it impossible for everyone to teleport, scan etc., which resulted in such huge losses. If they fought in the sky of Yenji continent, Ash Gold Emperor's time laws wouldn't be able to stop those experts who were good at teleportation from escaping. If they couldn't beat them, they would have escaped long ago. What can I do? This is the universe and this is just a small altar on Yenji continent. Compared to the countless universe secret regions and countless dangerous places, who knows how much more dangerous it is? LuoFeng thought. No matter what, you have to be cautious and never be arrogant. If you can get such treasures, the geniuses of the other races might also get treasures or even more powerful ones. In this battle, for Emperor-level warriors had fallen. What a tragedy. This also woke LuoFeng up. He didn't dare to be too arrogant anymore. Before he got the Wu Killer Wings, Emperor Armor and General Armor, LuoFeng was too arrogant and confident. Just like what the high and mighty Primal Chaos City leader had determined. Actually, from his point of view, LuoFeng's fortune was very ordinary. The Royal Armor and General Armor were just external forces. Once LuoFeng's own strength increases, their effects would be much smaller. Request. LuoFeng frowned. Virtual Universe, Hongmeng City. Within a bar, LuoFeng was drinking and chatting with another human in a corner. Tianqin, why are you looking for me so urgently? LuoFeng looked at the human before him. This was one of the many good friends he had made over the years, Tianqin Emperor. Tianqin Emperor and Niqin Emperor grew up in the same generation. They were both core disciples of the Battle Axe Colosseum. The two of them had always been competing, and through that they developed a deep friendship. Yang the Nightstar King is dead. Tianqin Emperor's eyebrows were very long, his entire being was very sharp, sighing softly. Before he died he left me a message saying that he was killed by the foreign-race Cang Jin Emperor. He died on the Yenji continent, and there were a total of 3 Emperor-level warriors there, including him. You were there too and you were his good friend. Do you know the details? Right, he's dead. He died at the hands of Cang Jin Emperor. LuoFeng sighed softly. Finally he was forced to self-destruct by Cang Jin Emperor. Cang Jin Emperor who? Tianqin Emperor asked. Even though Cang Jin Emperor was rather famous on the Yenji continent, he was after all a foreign race, a warrior from the automaton camp. Of course Tianqin Emperor didn't know him. Even within the Hongmeng alliance, there were over 3 million Emperor-level warriors. Tianqin Emperor only knew a portion of them, he didn't know many of them. Cang Jin Emperor is dead too. LuoFeng said. Ah. Tianqin Emperor was shocked, after which he nodded. Whatever, roaming the universe, walking the line between life and death is inevitable. Come drink with me. All right. LuoFeng drank with Tianqin Emperor. Regarding this matter, LuoFeng didn't want to say too much. His grudge with Purple Zhong Emperor was destined to end one day. He didn't want Tianqin Emperor to get involved. Whether it was himself or Purple Zhong Emperor, they both had treasures on them, their own survival abilities were strong. And even though Purple Zhong Emperor didn't get the altar treasure, other than the chain treasure chest, the large amount of treasures, Purple Zhong Emperor still got close to half. That large amount of treasures represented a huge amount of wealth. Purple Zhong Emperor could totally buy Fire God origin crystals and other treasures to raise his strength. The next battle will probably be even more dangerous. Purple Zhong Emperor is after all someone who has killed an Emperor-level warrior before. LuoFeng didn't dare to be careless, he didn't know. Purple Zhong Emperor, including Cang Jin Emperor, had already killed 2 Emperor-level warriors before. I have to think of a way to deal with Purple Zhong Emperor. That Purple Zhong Emperor treated LuoFeng as an opponent, thinking of ways to kill him. LuoFeng too was thinking of ways to deal with Purple Zhong Emperor. Within the world of the World Ring, the Mosha clansman and the Golden Horned Beast both appeared. The altar treasure chest. Black-clothed Luo looked in the distance at the large amount of treasures in the center, the chain treasure chest. All the other treasures added together are far from being comparable to this chain treasure chest. Black-clothed Luo thought, just the protection alone costs a few 100 million mixed elements, the treasures within must be shocking. Ichim, let's try and see if I can use the Mosha clansman to transform into a native of the Sacrifice Flame continent and trick the sensors to open the chest. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to make a trip back to Primal Universe Primal Chaos City to meet the Primal Chaos City teacher and get him to help open it. This chain treasure chest, Luo estimated, even True Yin teacher would have a hard time opening it. However, to the Primal Chaos City leader, it would definitely be easy. Even though he didn't want to trouble his teacher for the sake of the altar treasure, it was worth it. To the Primal Chaos City teacher, it was just a matter of opening it. Let's try. Transform. Black-clothed Luo immediately transformed into a flow of energy and transformed into a 6-armed Sacrifice Flame Continent native. Within the residential area of the altar, there were some remains. Those were the bones of Sector Lord Pinnacle warriors of the Sacrifice Flame Continent. The toughest part of the body was the bones. Just like one of the disciples of the Yun Mo planet master Hu Yenbo, even after tens of thousands of years, his golden bones were still perfectly intact. Sector Lord Pinnacle, their bodies were naturally strong, and their bones were the strongest. Compared to an Undying's body, a Sector Lord's bones were very close. Hence when the muscles decayed, the bones would still exist for a very long time. Luo had the thought of changing to trick the chest. Naturally he brought along some of the bones, borrowing the genes and directly mimicking the bones and genes of the aboriginals, transforming them. Natural ability. Copy. The Mosha sacrifice flame tribe members' aura changed, becoming Chio Chi Ka's. After all, the living sacrifice flame tribe warriors Luo Feng had only seen Chio Chi Ka. As for the fallen aboriginals, copying the energy of the dead, whether it was effective or not, Luo Feng wasn't sure. He felt it wasn't as effective as copying the living. Message talisman. The Mosha sacrifice flame tribe member flipped his hand and took out a message talisman. Within it was Luo Feng's spirit imprint. The three great bodies, their spirit imprints were all the same. Naturally they recognized him as its owner. The message talisman immediately entered his body. Everything settled. Genes, energy, message talisman, I have it all, I just don't know if I can open this chest. Demon killer Luo Feng walked to the chain chest. The 12 chains were still connected to some metal shards, all binding the chest. On it there was a mysterious sacrificial engraving. Demon killer Luo Feng took a deep breath. He extended his right hand and gently rubbed the chest. The system within the chest began to inspect. It has to succeed, it has to succeed. Demon killer Luo Feng was nervous within. He prayed silently, even though he could get the primal chaos city leader to help. Within his heart, if he didn't have to ask his teacher, he definitely wouldn't. He had to rely on himself for everything. If he really had no choice, he couldn't just waste such a treasure trove. It wouldn't be too late to ask later. This chest sensory system, I wonder how advanced it is. I hope it can be opened. Actually, the sensory system wasn't as exaggerated as Luo Feng thought it would be. It only detected two things. One was the message talisman, the other was life energy. As for the gene structure, different life forms indeed had different gene structures. However, harvesting the genes, there were many ways to deceive. The life energy, however, was different. Different life forms had different energies. Different races had completely different energies. Humans, even though they all had different energies. However, the entire human race, their energies were considered similar, belonging to the same type. Just like humans and Bug Clan, their energies were obviously worlds apart, and their life energies were something that couldn't be imitated, other than the extremely few special races in the universe that had their natural abilities. What were natural abilities? Natural abilities were special abilities bestowed by the universe. Some couldn't be trained at all. Life energy, confirmed. Message talisman, confirmed. The chest's originally locked lid automatically opened. Demon killer Luo Feng, who was anxiously waiting, immediately revealed a smile, immediately opening the chest. Within the chest there were 3 world rings. Scanning with his world energy, these 3 rings were ownerless. Let's look at them one by one. Luo Feng picked up the 3 world rings and began to inspect them. His world energy seeped into the first world ring. The world within this ring was vast and boundless. One could only see many metallic mountains, countless rare liquids forming lakes, E-grade ships. It was densely packed like a swarm of locusts. There was a sea of items. Damn. This. Luo Feng was completely shocked. Luo Feng picked up the 2nd and 3rd world rings to check. My god. This time, we've really struck it rich. The race's treasure, even back when the natives of the Yenji continent were at their strongest, this treasure should have taken up quite a bit of their wealth. Luo Feng was completely shocked by this huge amount of treasure. He didn't know that back then the few knights knew it was hard for them to survive, so they divided all of their treasures into the 100 true inheritance pagodas. This was the Yenji continent's natives, 1% of their entire race's wealth. The huge amount of treasures left behind by the aboriginals of the continent was simply too shocking. My god. This is really... Luo Feng blinked, his entire body was boiling. We've struck it rich, we've really struck it rich. No wonder Cang Jin Emperor, Purple Bell Emperor and the others all fought so hard for the treasures. Even Night Chin Emperor and Tiger Thorn Emperor were filled with desire. Looks like they've seen more than me, they know how shocking the treasures are. It's not just shocking. That's crazy. Luo Feng muttered to himself. Each of the 3 world rings had different levels of treasures, and every one of them had a message. Luo Feng flipped his hand, and 3 pieces of metal appeared out of thin air. The pieces of metal were engraved with tiny characters. They were all written in the language of the natives of the Yenji continent, and they described the contents of the treasure. Surviving clansmen, within this world ring are treasures for sector lords, domain lords, universe levels, star levels and star traveler levels. Even though many of the items are cheap, there are many of them, filling the entire world with countless items. Adding them up, it's a huge amount of wealth. You have to use them carefully. You have to consider that the clan needs trillions of years to slowly rise up. You have to control the output. Nurturing the next generation is the most important, because these weak clansmen that are still growing are the future of our clan. This world ring represents the future. Clansmen, this world ring stores treasures for the undyings. Even though the amount is far from the last one, the total amount of wealth is much higher. Surviving the calamity, our clan has difficulty surviving. We need the surviving undyings to open up a living space for us. They need enough treasures to be able to roam the universe. Clansmen, this last world ring stores a set of true engraved weapons. The engraved weapons are our clan's highest achievement. Over countless years, our clan's knights have worked hard to create them, yet they've only created less than 100 of them. And after this calamity, these engraved weapons and our knights' treasures have all been split among the 100 inheritance pagodas. Some inheritance pagodas contain secret rune weapons, while others contain treasures used by venerables. Although, Engraved weapons were not very useful to venerables, their value in the universe was not lower than venerables' treasures because they were very powerful. As for how to use the engraved weapon and what its abilities were, the engraved weapon had a detailed explanation. Although there's only one of this secret pattern weapon, its price far exceeds the sum of the previous 2 world rings. Luo Feng looked at the 3 pieces of metal, stunned. 3 world rings. One was for the undying level and below, sector lords, domain lords, universe levels and other weaker clansmen. One was an immortal rank treasure. One was a clan protection treasure, a secret pattern weapon. That's way too awesome. Engraved weapons are the highest achievement of the civilization of the indigenous people of this continent. Countless years of painstaking production, but there were less than 100 of them, and its price far exceeds the wealth of the previous 2 world rings. Luo Feng immediately took the 3rd world ring with a thought. He retrieved the only weapon within. Wah! This weapon was small and exquisite, somewhat similar to an armguard. The main color of the material was black, vaguely giving off a feeling of hazy stars. How to use the engraved weapon with a detailed explanation? Luo Feng looked at it curiously. He couldn't understand it at all. Immediately, a thread of world energy seeped into the engraved weapon and began to investigate. The moment it seeped in, the spirit imprint within the world energy automatically entered the armguard. The engraved weapon armguard immediately recognized him. How convenient. As Luo Feng easily made the engraved weapon recognize him, a piece of information immediately entered his consciousness. This information was a detailed description of the engraved weapon. It's called the Space Lock Arm, one of the less than 100 engraved weapons in the universe, in the form of an armguard. My clan's strongest and most mysterious is the sacrificial engraved. This is a special path that my ancestor discovered and comprehended in a universe secret region. It's also the path that suits my clan the most. Just like the altar you all are sitting on, it's one of the most basic uses of the sacrificial engraved. Within the altar are countless sacrificial engravings, finally forming the ability to repel probing, space sealing, etc. However, these are real engravings. They require a vessel and have a huge limitation. There's no way to use them effectively in battle. Hence my ancestor finally created the even stronger space engravings. Every engraved weapon contains a complex structure of space engravings. The moment it's provided with an energy source, it can cause the space engravings to scatter in space. The area it scatters within is a controlled area. The best energy source is an undying god crystal. One must never use one's own undying god energy. Because the power of the engraved weapon is huge, the energy consumption is shocking too, and this consumption is completely depleted. If one uses one's own undying god energy, it's equivalent to burning one's undying body. It's not worth it. There are many undying god crystals in the universe. The stronger the energy it contains, the longer it can be used. The Space Lock Arm's function is to scatter the space engravings within an area, locking down the space ripples within. Unable to teleport. Hence, this Space Lock Arm is the nightmare of space law warriors. Of course it will affect the user too. The user himself cannot teleport. Hence, the Space Lock Arm is most suitable for time law warriors to use. To strong time law warriors, being able to use time pause, however the opponent cannot teleport. Naturally the advantage is huge. The Space Lock Arm due to the space engravings within. Hence, as long as one carries the Space Lock Arm with the user as the center, the space within a certain area will be locked down. This is much more effective than the altar, etc. The altar space is limited and it's very hard to move with the user, and battles can easily destroy the structure of the altar and the engravings on it. And the space engravings are unbreakable. The Space Lock Arm's range can be split into 3 levels. 1. 10,000 kilometers in radius. 2. 100,000 kilometers in radius. 3. 1 million kilometers in radius. The larger the range, the more energy it consumes. As the Space Lock Arm consumes a shocking amount of energy, it's only used against true enemies in life and death battles. Don't use it carelessly. I hope the later generations of warriors within the clan can use this engraved weapon to protect our clan, allowing our clan to rise. Damn. Luo Feng felt his head buzzing and heating up. He was so excited he almost lost his mind, spitting out 3 words in a row. I've really made a comeback, a huge comeback, really a huge comeback. Luo Feng felt the information in his mind. He was extremely excited within. This fight for the altar's treasure was too worth it. Back when he first entered the altar and realized the uniqueness of the engravings within, Luo Feng was already very envious. Battling within the altar, he had the advantage. However, once the scale of the battle gets bigger, the altar will be destroyed, and the altar space is limited. Luo Feng can only dream about it. Engraved weapon? Altar engravings? Is it the ancestor of the natives of the Sacrifice Flame continent, a path of the strong that he stumbled upon in a universe secret region? Luo Feng complimented. It's really powerful. There are real engravings and even void engravings. The altar treasures 3 world rings, especially the last one, really made Luo Feng very happy. Let's give it a try. Luo Feng, who couldn't resist, extended his left arm. Hua! The space-locking arm directly stuck to Luo Feng's left arm, and a part of it melted into his skin. At the same time, the hazy black surface of the star suddenly cracked open, revealing an energy groove within the space-locking arm. It needs an extremely high-energy undying god crystal? Luo Feng let out a smile. I still have 2 fire god origin crystals, each worth 200 million points. If one explodes, it's comparable to a low-level emperor self-detonation. Fire God Origin Crystal, Thunder God Origin Crystal, etc. These were originally extremely high energy crystals of the Undying God. They could be used as an energy source, they could also be directly detonated. Actually, when the automaton race designed them, they originally planned to provide some large equipment with an extremely pure and powerful energy source. Who would have thought that after the battles in the universe, many strong warriors would discover its use, making the Fire God Origin Crystal more of an explosive weapon. Pa. Luo Feng flipped his hand and placed a Fire God Origin Crystal into the groove. It only took up a third of the groove. Chi-chi, the inside of the groove instantly tightened, the energy flowing smoothly. Ka. The surface closed up again. The entire arm guard was tightly sealed. Haha. Luo Feng's thoughts moved, the silver armor automatically covered the arm guard, protecting it well. Actually, this space-locking arms material was extremely expensive, much stronger and sturdier than the chain treasure chest. Even a knight would find it hard to damage it. Space lock. The space-locking arm had long recognized its owner. Luo Feng naturally could easily control it. The smallest area, a 10,000 kilometers radius space lock. Luo Feng easily activated it. The engraved weapon's space-locking arm had the 200 million point Fire God Origin Crystal as its energy source. The energy was simply too abundant and it was instantly activated. 1. With the space-locking arm as the core, a formless strange energy instantly spread out in all directions. This was another type of undulation that was very similar to the ripples of space in the universe. Within a 10,000 kilometers radius of space. The sky, the mountain range, the prairie, the underground soil, all of them had the void sacrificial secret runes. These sacrificial secret runes were all void secret runes that were faintly discernible. Even if one punched it, they would only hit empty air. Because they were void secret runes, they couldn't be destroyed. To destroy them, one would have to destroy the space-locking arm. Haha. Luo Feng revealed a look of glee, surveying his surroundings, looking up at the sky and the land. Really? With the Mosha clansman's precise senses of the universe space, he could clearly feel that the 10,000 kilometers radius of the universe space was completely locked. There was no space ripples, there was no way to teleport. Today's second chapter. Space lock, it really locks space. Good. Luo Feng's eyes burned with passion. Space lock. This is a perfect space lock. Luo Feng was very excited, he was very clear on the value of this engraved weapon. The space laws could be split into 3 big categories: teleportation, strangulation and lock. Every category could be split into many smaller categories. As long as one comprehended one of these categories, one would be able to gain the recognition of the space laws. However, to train any one of these 3 categories to the extreme was extremely difficult. To be able to teleport, strangulation and lock, any one of them to perfect perfection. Normally one was at the pinnacle of the emperor level. A few higher level emperors could use it too. As this was a test of one's law comprehension, some higher level emperors might be weaker in other areas, but their law comprehension was high, hence they could use it too. With the space lock. Along with my killing of Wu Yui, I, Luo Feng, truly have the qualifications to stand above the trillions of races and undyings. Luo Feng was extremely happy within. Luo Feng was simply too excited, he couldn't help but let his imagination run wild. Ah, right, deactivate the space lock arm. This consumes energy at all times. Wu, wait a moment, I'll round it up to 10 seconds and deactivate it. Luo Feng immediately deactivated the space lock arm. The engravings within a 10,000 kilometers radius all vanished. I wonder how much energy was used. Luo Feng checked. The energy slot of the space lock arm showed 98.9% energy remaining. My god. Luo Feng's eyes stared wide. 98.9% left? This, I only used 10 seconds and that's the smallest area. This is a fire god crystal worth 200 million points, how can the energy be used up so quickly? In a short 10 seconds he had used up 1.1% of the fire god crystal. One crystal was worth 200 million points. That meant he had used up 2.2 million points in those 10 seconds. That meant he would use up 13.2 million points in 60 seconds. 13.2 million points used up in 1 minute? 1 minute used up the entire wealth of an official undying? Luo Feng took a deep breath. He finally understood what it meant by the universe was fair. Such a heaven-defying engraved weapon, it didn't require any training or comprehension. Just the energy alone was enough to lock the space. If the energy used was any less, it would be unbelievable. 1 minute, 13.2 million points. No wonder the ancestors of the native tribes of the Sacrifice Flame continent said that the space-locking arm consumed a shocking amount of energy and should only be used against real enemies and in a battle of life and death. Do not use it under normal circumstances. That's right. I can't use it carelessly unless it's a truly important moment. Luo Feng shook his head. This is a gold-swallowing cave. Luo Feng was extremely excited after acquiring the engraved weapon. However, the ridiculous amount of energy used up was like a bucket of cold water, causing Luo Feng to wake up. I won't release the eagle until I see the rabbit. Unless it's a crucial moment, I definitely won't use the engraved weapon. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't be able to recover. Luo Feng muttered within. Even so, he was still happy within. This space-locking arm was known to far surpass the wealth of the previous 2 world rings combined. It was indeed worth it. This was simply a killing weapon that undying level warriors, especially time law warriors, could only dream of. I have to do some research. There are so many treasures in the other 2 world rings. How much are they worth? The two world rings along with the treasures left behind by Pale Gold Emperor and the others that Luo Feng acquired, Luo Feng had to have an overall estimate. However, as there were too many items and too many types, Luo Feng and Babata had to work hard in the study of the Primal Region Villa in Yuxiang Mountain, researching and researching. Different items, different ways of selling them all had different prices. Hence it wasn't as simple as checking the price of each item and calculating the total price. Also, some of the weapons like Pale Gold Emperor and the others were specially made by them, there was no way to find an accurate price on the network. Through the Virtual Universe Network, through his friends in Hongmeng City, through the shops in Hongmeng City, with Luo Feng's status as the direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader, through various channels. After spending a total of 7 days, he finally confirmed the approximate prices of all the items. The first world ring, even though the most expensive items are for sector lords to use, there are mountains after mountains, lakes after lakes, countless items piled up to form a continent. All in total, it's worth about 221 billion mixed elements. The second world ring is for undyings to use. There aren't many of them, but in total, it's worth about 285 billion mixed elements. The third world ring only has one engraved weapon. Engraved weapons are extremely rare, and the number of them in the human race can be counted on one's fingers. Without an accurate price, this engraved weapon can no longer be bought with cash, it can only be exchanged for other items, using other treasures to exchange for it. Its value is indeed far beyond the sum of the previous two world rings. Pale Gold Emperor and the others have a portion of treasures, worth about 53 billion mixed elements. Adding it all up, a set of precious engraved weapons and 560 billion mixed elements. Within the study of Yuxiang Mountain Primal Region, Luo Feng and the fist-sized Babata who were looking at the screen stared dumbfoundedly at the final price, after which they exchanged glances. Luo Feng, you've really struck it rich. Babata blinked. Haha. Luo Feng smiled. Right. His gains from the altar this time made Luo Feng feel like his life had changed. Ever since he became the direct disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader, he had interacted with the other seniors like the Golden Axe Knight who he interacted with the most, and the others like Guei Knight and Evil Spear Knight. This allowed Luo Feng to broaden his horizons. He had done some research and knew how shocking the wealth of the Absolute Warriors were. Normal Undyings had around 10,000 mixed elements. Official level Undyings had around 10 million mixed elements. Emperor level Undyings had around 10 billion mixed elements. This was the average of the upper and pinnacle emperors. Like the extreme emperors, they would normally have tens of billions or even 100 billion mixed elements. Like True Yen, an emperor invincible, even comparable to a normal universe knight, his wealth would normally be in the hundreds of billions or more. Of course, this was just a rough description. In truth, the strong warriors had all converted their wealth into ships, plant life forms, weapons and treasures etc. Those with actual cash were extremely few. Like True Yen who could easily exchange for the Beast God 7 kills for Luo Feng, to be able to casually produce so much cash, was already shocking. Like how Luo Feng didn't have much cash before he acquired the treasures in the altar. And as one's strength grew, especially to the Universe Knights, the treasures they needed were rare and hard to come by. Many of them couldn't be bought with cash. They could only exchange for other items. Just like Luo Feng's engraved weapon, there was no place to buy it. The strong warrior's wealth was basically all fixed assets. Luo Feng's fixed assets were huge. Wu Killer Wings, Beast God Weapon, Engraved Weapon, Inheritance Crystals. These were all fixed assets. And these treasures couldn't be sold because they could be exchanged for money. However, money might not be able to exchange for enough treasures. Like if Luo Feng needed a treasure one day. However, that treasure he couldn't buy it. Luo Feng could announce publicly, I'll use the engraved weapon space lock arm to exchange for some treasure. This would make it much easier to succeed. Many universe absolute warriors who wanted the space lock arm for their disciples or heirs would be willing to exchange for treasures with Luo Feng. The most valuable treasures, I'll keep them. Those that are useless to me but are commonly seen in the universe, it's better to sell them as soon as possible. Luo Feng thought. What suited him was the best. On the other hand, the treasures of other conferred kings might not be suitable for him. In the following time, Luo Feng began to quietly deal with these goods on a large scale. Like the huge amount of items in the First World Ring, Great Alliance City was doing business with the Emperor-level warriors, these normal items couldn't be sold at all. Such a huge amount, those stores couldn't be bought, they could only sell to the Virtual Universe Company. Luckily the Virtual Universe Company's purchasing department gave face to Luo Feng as the Primal Chaos City leader's disciple. They didn't dare lower the price. Sell? Those useless and common items, I'll exchange them all for money. Luo Feng was busy but he was happy within. Just as Luo Feng was using his various channels to sell these treasures, suddenly one day, he received a mail from a good friend in Great Alliance City. The content was simple. Yang, I heard you acquired the altar treasure on Yanji continent? What? Luo Feng was shocked when he saw the mail. The human Yang was a fake identity. After all, news of Luo Feng being the Primal Chaos City leader's disciple had spread long ago. The other races in the universe were all searching for Luo Feng. Luo Feng naturally didn't dare reveal his identity. Yang, this identity had always been low-key, and was considered a normal emperor-level warrior. However, the moment he was linked to the altar treasure, many would covet it, and think that the human Yang wasn't worth mentioning and was easy to deal with, that would be troublesome. If a warrior like Cang Jin Emperor acquired the altar treasure, the other emperor-level warriors wouldn't dare mess with him. But Yang? Who was he? True treasures, only those with power could possess them. It would be weird if there wasn't a fight. Emperor Mona, where are you? Luo Feng immediately contacted Emperor Mona. After a while, within a restaurant in Great Alliance City, Luo Feng and a fox-tailed, handsome warrior Emperor Mona were quietly conversing in a private room. Emperor Mona, where did you hear that I acquired the altered treasure? Luo Feng said anxiously, just which bastard spread it, isn't he trying to harm me? When I first found out about this I was shocked too. If this information was fake, then the person who spread it must be really vicious. King Mona shook his head and laughed, but the information was too accurate and it even stated the exact coordinates of the universe. The coordinates are XXXXX, and there is indeed a sacrificial tower there. According to the information, you obtained the treasure from that sacrificial tower. Many strong cultivators have already gone to the location of the altar to investigate. Now the news has spread like wildfire across the entire continent. Even some titled kings from the Star Tower and other places know about it.